The comments, opinions, and views shared during this program are of those individual Freemasons and do not reflect the official position of a Grand Lodge, concordant body, appendant body, Masonic Authority, or craftsmanonline.com.
Hey, welcome back to the Craftsman Online Podcast, the only Masonic podcast endorsed by the Grand Lodge of New York. I'm your host, Right Worshipful Brother Michael Arce, and we're getting ready to go inside Job's Daughters International on this unique edition of the podcast. I want to quit saying special, but this one is, and I'll get that in a second. First, our push to hit 20 new subscriber members on Patreon continues, and we are ever so close. Our goal is to hit 20 new subscribers on Patreon before the end of the year. You can open up the notes for this episode, click the little link right there, and start your free 7-day trial with us on Patreon. What do you get? You get ad-free episodes, which is awesome. No more annoying commercials. You get full access to all of our subscriber extra episodes. That's where we get some extra time with some of our select guests, a little chat, talk, and you get the warm feeling in your heart of knowing you're supporting this podcast. And that's a very meaningful thing to me here. That $5 goes a long way to help make this show possible. So thank you in advance to all of our Patreon subscribers, or for those just kicking the tires on a 7-day free trial. So what makes this episode unique is a number of things. One, I get to talk to one of my best Masonic friends, Worshipful Brother Sam Chin. He's the sitting master of my lodge here in the nation's capital, St. John's Lodge number 11 in Washington, D.C. I'm also joined by his lovely daughter, Melody Chin, who is the dynamic honored queen of Bethel 36 in Towson, Maryland. Plus, for you to know, we had the whole Chin family over for dinner. So Mom Muriel was here, little sister Susie was here, and yes, Melody's younger brother RJ was even here for the episode. And my wife was sitting in the living room as we were taping this in person. So Sam, Melody, welcome to the Craftsman Online Podcast.
Thank you for inviting us.
Happy to be here.
I was one of these people that was unfamiliar with JDI, or Job's Daughters International. Melody, what does JDI mean to you, or how do you tell your friends about it when they're like, what is this JDI thing that you do?
I think for the longest time, JDI to me was always just like that youth group that was teaching like young girls like leadership and communication skills. We learned how to run business meetings, and we still do a lot of the things like the Masons. But we just overall, it's just a good environment socially for young women, especially for the ages of like 10 to 20. So like throughout your teen lives. So yeah.
It's also interesting when you say 10 to 20. When I was growing up, I was a member of the 4-H club in my area. You could join 4-H at 9. I think it was 18 is when you kind of aged out. But you're making like lifelong friends with people when
Pretty
you think
much,
about it.
yes.
Yeah. So you're growing up with these people.
Yeah, I think a lot of the daughters that I ended up going into JDI with, they are now going to college or are close to leaving college.
Do you think of them as friends or family, or how do you think about these other women?
I think friends, they are definitely my mentors for a while. A lot of my friends from JDI have all encouraged me to do something in JDI in one way or another. I've started to like really open up and do greater things on greater scales because of them, for sure.
So let's get Dad's answer to this question. He's a past master and current sitting master of our lodge here in DC. When you first heard of JDI or Job's Daughters, I'm guessing it's when you were still an active Mason, probably new in your time as a Mason?
Yeah, when I first joined, Masonry was brand new, and my mentor, John Regner, he had mentioned that this thing called JDI exists for young girls, and basically they do exactly what we do. And through the years, I learned and I saw the type of growth I was experiencing, and I was like, this would be good for my daughter. So we kind of put her into it, and she attached, and it has turned her into an amazing, amazing person.
So just like, as we call it, Blue Lodge or Freemasonry, once you become a member of something, you start to see it differently. So when did Job's Daughters change from this, oh, this is a neat like Masonic youth group that people can have their families be a part of Freemasonry, to, hey, this is a big part of our family's life. Like once a week, if not every week, we have we have an event that's tied to this organization.
So it was, yeah. I mean, the nice thing about JDI, their particular Bethel, they have plenty of activities. So there's always 2 or 3 things going on every month. So, we go to them, experience more, and you get to see, just like in Masonry, how big the family is and how connected we are. So that drives more interest. So you want to do more things, and you end up going to even more events. And actually, to the point where she's in the East now and I'm in the East, we've actually worked together. So she is supporting our lodge and some of the other lodges in the district, and we've done what we can to support her Bethel and her grand jurisdiction. So that kind of teamwork, is an amazing part of that family connection.
Yeah, speaking of the family connection, that's what's cool, is being a friend to the Chin family as well as a brother to Brother Chin, is being able to attend the crossover functions. And when I'm going to bring my dad up here, oh, he's a worshipful, or I'm going to bring my daughter up, she's the honored queen. Like, what is that like to be able to address and call each other that and be like, that's the same person that I see on Sunday mornings, at family breakfast, or we spend holidays and vacation time together. But now that worshipful or that honored is my dad or my daughter.
I think it's just something that I've learned to accept, but it's also something that I have kind of embraced. I think there are a lot of daughters within not just my own jurisdiction, but in jurisdictions across internationally, who have always just been like, oh, like this person that I know is a Mason, this like my family member's a Mason, like, and that's as far as it goes. For me, I don't think I truly have any other like common interest with my dad other than Masonry. And I'm going to use that to the best of my ability. Every time Masonry is mentioned, it's always my dad. It's the instant thought of my dad, what I do, what he does, why we travel, where we travel, and other like things similar. Like being able to laugh and just be like, oh yeah, this is my dad or whatever, like in the East, and him bringing me up into the East when he's in lodge, it's funny, but it's nice because for me, it's a good thing to know that there is something that I can show to the other Masons, but this is also something that they get to learn about for us.
For me, it's a huge point of pride. I mean, it's no different than when a parent has a star athlete, or their kid's doing really well in school. They're on a trajectory to doing great things like becoming a doctor and whatnot. Being able to bring her into lodge and essentially show her off that look at my daughter. She's done these things. She's gone from someone who was demure and meek, and now has a powerful voice. She stands on her own. That is a huge point of pride for me, and to show that to the other brothers that, hey, this thing that we call Masonry, it works for us, but it also works for young people who will eventually take over for us as well in the various youth groups. So yeah, it's an amazing thing to have and be a part of.
Let's talk about first. This is the first podcast. I told Sam and Melody this. Like, this is the first podcast I've done live recording in person with somebody before. This is also the first podcast on the Craftsman Online podcast that we've done where we have a father-daughter. We've now not even had a father-son combination. I've heard from one, but not both of them together, especially in the same room. So kind of special. Want to talk about your first. What was it like the first time you went to a JDI meeting? I think a lot of us that remember being a kid know that our parents sometimes are like, you're going to go do this thing. It's like, no, I don't want to take karate class. No, but you go, right? So was there any hesitation, and did it take more than one meeting for you to say, hey, I'd like to do this again?
My very first encounter with JDI was in like June of 2019. So I'm like a 9-year-old. And about a year or two before, I was actually into doing like beauty pageants. So I'm 9 years old. I'm in 4th grade or 3rd grade or one of those, and I'm just like, oh, I don't want to do, like I just kind of want to like live like on the down low. I don't really want to do anything, and then I get just like I'm having a conversation with my parents, and my mom's like, "Do you want to wear a pretty cape and crown?" And I went, "Sure." I mean, it's a cape and a crown. Who would say no? So I go to Mount Moriah in Baltimore, and lo and behold, I see this whole group of people. I see the girl with the cape and the crown, and I'm like in awe. But obviously, you don't just get the cape and crown. So you're just sitting. So I got to meet all of these daughters, and I got to meet like these other Masons and these people from groups that I've never ever heard of. And it didn't really click to me at the time, like at 9 years old, that I'm going to do this or that I would be interested in doing this. I just did this because it was always just like, oh, you're in it now because you got installed, or you were like welcomed as a Joby to be, which is kind of like the younger version program for ages like 6 and then to 10-ish before they are able to become an actual daughter. So I'm like 9 and I only have like a term left to go. And so I was just like, I don't think it could be that bad. So then I attended the first meeting only for the first bit. Then I had to leave when I was not entitled to stay there anymore. So then I left, hung out with the Bethel, and I got more and more into it. Initiated at 10, right before COVID. So I spent my whole like first 2-ish years of my JDI life in COVID. So I had to do everything kind of iffy because I had to relearn how to teach myself where to walk, how to walk, do the walking lines and everything. Those who were in the West who did the most walking ended up not really knowing how to walk by the time we started going back in. So I just remember a bunch of us having to like relearn how to walk in and walk out, where to go and where to turn, how to square a corner and everything. It was definitely a learning experience, but it's something that I will truly never forget.
Don't feel bad. We had that same problem in Blue Lodge. And I think it carried over still almost 5 years later. One of the things that people don't associate quickly with Freemasonry is leadership. And Job's Daughter International is part of the Masonic family. It appeals to young women. It's one of our youth groups that we do. And I'm sure you hear a lot about leadership, especially as someone that's in high school is like, good leader, leadership skills. You're like, Can you think of a time as honored queen or maybe on your path to becoming honored queen where you kind of had to step up and be a leader that you didn't expect that was going to be the moment or the call you'd have to answer?
At one point, I was the youngest in my Bethel. I had a lot of girls that were 18. And usually by the time you're 18, that's when you start to go dormant in your Joby life because you're graduating high school, you're getting ready for college. So we kind of call it like the dormant phase. But you had some that were 16, some that were 18, some already on their way to college, some 14 and 13. But I'm just a 10-year-old who literally knows nothing better. So I'm going in there, and as time starts to go on, this is pushing after my proficiency, and I started making my way up into the East. I realized the numbers of daughters were depleting like crazy. And I knew sooner or later I was going to be the oldest, and that was it. Like, we draw the line at that. So what I ended up having to do is like I had to teach these girls how to, put on your regalia, what to do and where to square and how to pray and how to open something or close a door or knock on a door or what you have to do for X, Y, and Z, the protocol for X, Y, and Z. I had to learn that, and I had to teach it. And I think at the same time, it's like a blessing and a curse. Because at the same time, it's like, I think I've done this so many times before that I'm like, oh yeah, I could do this blind. But at the same time, it's just like, I need to not sound like, oh my gosh, I have to teach this to you.
Mm.
So I have to be like, this is how we do it, and this is why we do it.
Mm.
And so,
Nice. All right, let's talk to Dad here. It's probably the best title in the world is getting to be Dad. I was thinking of Kobe Bryant, and he famously said he was a girl dad. Well, you're a Joby dad as well. So what is that like being a Joby dad?
It's interesting because you won't have to get used to being called Dad Sam.
By everybody?
by everybody, not just, like your kids, but by everybody. So now it's like, oh, well, I'm not just a dad to my kids. I'm a dad to all of the kids, which means I have a greater responsibility.
Mm.
I have to watch out for all of them and all their well-beings and making sure that, they are progressing and learning. And, even with missteps, of the parents, we're there to guide and correct and adjust. But we have to kind of be as hands-off as possible because this is for them. The Joby organization is masonry, but for young girls. And it gives them the opportunity and the safe space, much like our Blue Lodge does, for them to experience different things and run into different scenarios and different issues and learn from them and correct and adjust so that when they get out into the real world or in class or with teachers or various adults, they know how to act and they know how to react to certain things. Because we all know that real life can be challenging.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk about the real life stuff. So you're the dad. Parents have a keen eye on their kids, seeing changes in their personalities and their characters from when they were like little people to now when they're, young women. Beyond leadership, what other kind of skills have you seen Melody begin to develop or just really take a strong mastery of thanks to being involved with JDI?
So leadership obviously is the big easy one, but I've also seen a change in her level of assertiveness. Because when she first started, my wife will always say this, that she was supposed to give a second on something. As we all know, seconding a motion is relatively easy. You stand up and say, "I second it," and she was afraid at first, but over time, that doesn't become an issue. It's easy to second a motion. And then it becomes, oh, I'm going to give the motion, and then I'm going to lead the discussion on this, So the assertiveness that has come out of her has, one blossomed within the Bethel, but I see it outside as well. When she's in school, she's like, oh, I'm going to do this. She doesn't even ask us for a lot of things anymore because she just knows that she wants to do it. And she does the work to go and do it. She's already looked at like her future into college, and we didn't have to guide her. She said, hey, there's this program, and I'm going to follow this. They say these are the courses that will get me there. And she has her classes. She's only a sophomore, and she's planning the classes all the way through her senior year and some into college already. So she has taken an initiative to just go and do without very much direction from us.
Let's talk a little bit about the operation of JDI. For our listener who's a Mason, you're familiar with the term trestle board and community service and the relief and the charity that we provide as Freemasons. It should not be a surprise to hear that JDI also has a strong focus on community service. That was one of the things getting to attend some of Melody's meetings as Honored Queen to hear about the various charities and nonprofits that you were supporting. Was there something that was really meaningful to you? Was there a particular initiative or project or program that you did that you felt really proud to be a part of?
I think a lot of the community service, a lot of people just think, oh, you're just doing it because it's designated in your bylaws, or you're doing it because, it's designated within the supreme level on the Constitution and everything. And I'm just like, yeah, but at the same time, it's like you do something for the purpose of the good. We have some grandparents for Bonnie Blank, like Masonic Home, and we send cards to them and we sign them for every month, and we send them out, and they seem to love it every time. I plan to do soup kitchens. I would really like to attend a soup kitchen and do one for my Bethel, but that's kind of in the works. I've worked with La Hacienda Lodge doing a canned food drive for them, and our Bethel has actually helped quite a bit for that. And then when you're Honored Queen, you have to choose a like a charity that you would like to donate to. And so I've done like comfort care, which is basically for like foster care kids. We send like care packages for them so that they don't have to carry their stuff in trash bags. And then
Wow.
yeah, and then my current one is for the PBS Foundation because PBS is getting their funds cutted, and that's free education for a lot of children, for a lot of children. And I got that because I am a big fan of Sesame Street. I got that, and I was kind of taken aback at the fact that we can't, or the next generation can't have that. And so I would like to, give that to the next generation.
That's awesome. That's yeah. It's interesting because I think when people think of community service, they instantly think of picking up trash on the side of the road.
Yeah.
Maybe volunteering at like a food kitchen or a community, a food area, which that's important. Blood drives. But it does go so much deeper than that. And I find it rewarding to hear young people, especially, and for our older listeners and dad across the table, like the older we get, like you just feel like, we get more cynical, and it's just refreshing to see that there's hope and there's a future for the country because there's these young people that are kind of stepping in and answering that same call that the adults are trying to answer as well. And it's even more special when we get to work together. Kind of leads me to my next question. So a few months ago, more than a few months ago, over the summer in 2025, you got to visit my home state of Arizona at probably the worst time of the year. Was it August? July? Yeah. Second worst time of the year, worst month of the year. Where I told you guys, like, you could crack an egg and fry it on the sidewalk, pick the road right out of the street because it's all melting and it's disgusting. But you got to attend the JDI conference. And if I'm calling it wrong, feel free to correct me. But what was that summit like? And what were some of the big takeaways or the things that you're going to remember from that?
Okay, quick little back story history on the conference. It's JDI's Supreme Session. It happens every year, usually the last week of July or early August. It's a week where the Supreme level, so that's everybody internationally, will have people from Canada, from Brazil, the Philippines, Australia, and the US. They meet up and they witness a weekend long of like filled with events that you can do. They install the next Supreme Guardian Council that will be the set of guardians to overlook the whole organization, and also elect 2 leadership roles that are known as the Miss International Job's Daughter through a pageant and Supreme Bethel Honor Queen, who will lead. They travel the world and they advocate about JDI to various Masonic events. This year I got to be a daughter delegate for the first time, which is a fairly new thing. I am actually the second to do this ever, where the daughters now have a say in what goes in the bylaws and the Constitution and the amendments. So I had the chance to sit in and vote on whether amendments should pass or should they be held back, should they be rewritten, should they be XYZ. And I think I have never witnessed a meeting that felt so long, but I felt like I wanted more. I think when first hearing about the daughter delegation and everything, it was always like, it was because we have our ritual changing every 10 years. So everyone was upset with the ritual, and so about the new changes, the proposed changes. And so I think I sent in, they had like Google Forms that you would send in if you were like, hey, this is a suggestion. I think I sent in like 50 forms. I read that ritual book from the things that I needed to walk, what I needed to say, the new simplified things, if things were cut out, if things were too short, if things were too long. And I wrote it all down and I sent it out to this organization. Whether they heard me or not, I guess we will truly never know. But everyone was so upset at it that I was like, I want to advocate for this. I want to do this. And unfortunately, the first time I was held back by age, but thankfully with the letter of intent this year and my guardians knowing that I had a cause and I had a purpose for this, I was able to get on to be a daughter delegate. I got to sit through these weekend-long meetings, but also know that I just helped. Even if I was a small fraction, I helped in some way, shape, or form. So I think that was the most rewarding out of the Supreme Session. In the past, I've gone to Supreme Session mainly for a ritual competition because I am a ritualist myself. So I've gotten a few awards from them in years past. I actually got 3rd place for one of my lectures this year over the summer, which was a word perfect score, meaning everything that was placed got down to things like your cadence, things like your movement and your like pacing. It was tough. And so it's definitely tricky in the competition realm, but it's nice to see that there are so many different jurisdictions that will willingly come together just to know that they have a whole family out here.
What was it like meeting some of the other Jobies?
I made a friend from the jurisdiction of Washington, so that's quite literally across the country. I think I would like to try and make a friend from Brazil because I think Brazil is actually a really good, like, cool place. I vaguely talked to some people from the Philippines, talked to very few people from Canada, but I definitely think seeing everybody was a really, really nice thing.
Yeah. It's cool. Like, it must feel really good to know that you're like a part of something bigger than you, but you still get a voice in it. And then you also get to meet other people kind of like you, but in other parts of the world, and you're connected through this bond. Like we talk about the mystic tie and Freemasonry as being Freemasons. But you have that as well too. And it's like, you must feel less lonely in the world knowing you have other people out there like you. That's awesome.
For sure.
And by the way, so that was in Phoenix, Arizona this year. Glendale, same thing. Where is next year's Grand Session?
Next year will be in Springfield, Missouri. Yeah, they've hopped around all over the country. It's only been a very few times where they've jumped out of the U.S. So they've gone to Alberta, or they've gone to British Columbia. They've gone to Australia once, and for Canada, maybe twice. They plan that in 2029, they should make it out to Brazil for the first time. So it's going to be interesting.
All right, I want to talk to Dad about the role of parents and the things that you do in JDI. Voluntold is something we hear a lot as a parent when our kids get involved in things. I'm sure we have a listener that's sitting here going, well, this sounds great, but I'm not a Freemason. Can my kids still be a part of it? And if I'm not a Freemason, or if I am a Freemason, if I walk in there, are they going to make me do everything?
So if you're not a Freemason, but you would like your daughter to be a part of it, they just need a Mason to vouch for the daughter. Someone related to a Mason works, and that is the kind of easy way in. If you are a Mason, then you're already covered.
Okay.
So that's nice how easy the access. They've opened it up because in the past it's been challenging, and now they've
really challenging.
Exactly. They've realized by opening it up, there are so many more avenues to get more young girls in to participate and join this great organization.
It's the secret word of a Master Mason, which is no. Are you allowed, if you get involved with this, do you run the danger of like, they're going to put you in the line, they're going to get you involved with everything, or?
Not exactly, because as parents, people, we know that we have, for Masons, we have cable toes. So that kind of allows us or restricts us from doing certain things. And as long as communication is open, the Bethel, the council, the Grand Guardian, the Grand Council, they all know that adults can and can't do certain things. And as long as you're open with them, it's not a big deal.
So hopefully our listener has gotten to this point where we're getting ready to wrap things up here. And they're like, hey, this sounds like this would be awesome for me. I'd really like to try this. Or they're like, this would be awesome for my kid. I think that they would really flourish. My daughter would just really take in this and this would be really sweet for their life. What would you say to someone that's just kind of sitting there going, I'm still a little hesitant about joining?
It's more than what meets the eye. It is forever and always will be more than what meets the eye. You look at it on the surface. I've had people who thought that it was a completely different religion. I've had people who have thought I'm a cult. I have thought, what was the purpose of being here? And honestly, JDI goes way deeper than it seems. It will forever and always go beyond what people define leadership is. When you think of leadership, a lot of people just say, oh, like you're the head of a club, you're the head of a ROTC thing, you're a head of something. But here, leadership is, for me at least, can you take what you know? Can you really understand what you know? And can you impart that to the next person down?
Yeah.
Or are you just going to sit there and just be like, I don't know what I'm doing either?
It's kind of interesting you say that, because the next person down is literally being very quiet and sitting in another chair in this room. And that's your sister, Susie, your younger sister. And that was really special to see her come in. I don't remember what it's called, but as Masons, it was similar to like her being obligated or coming into the Bethel. What's it like having your little sister come through this? And what are you hoping about for her future in JDI?
I was really ecstatic that my sister would be joining. I think in the very beginning stages, I was still like at that age where I was like, does she really have to do what I'm doing? But like, I think now I definitely hold it with the utmost pride. Like, no one truly understands that bond of sisterhood. Like, especially if you have a sister duo in the organization. I know a few that have actual like sister siblings in JDI at the same time as they are, and they're really, really good duos. And I know that my sister will do great things. I know she can do great things even when I'm out of the Bethel, even when I can't be there because of a volleyball game or because of school or something else. I know that she knows what to do and that she knows how to handle things. I definitely think the leadership opportunity will definitely be right in front of her very soon.
Nice.
Masonry is everywhere. For you and my dad to be so close as you are, I ended up having a friend that I grew with in this organization as well. Even when she came into my Bethel a little later, after hers closed down, we ended up being very, very close. And I always would think like, this is my Mr. RC and my dad duo. Like if that is me and her, it is definitely my dad and Mr. RC.
Nice.
But I did want to go back and mention that for JDI, you don't have to have a daughter in order to be a part of it.
Really?
Yes. So you have a daughter, but
she's a little old for JDI though.
A Mason who wants to be a part of JDI and just be an adult as a part of the council, they're more than welcome to join as well. And in fact, they need more adults also to help be there to help foster these the growth in these kids. So it's good to have kids, but you kind of need the adult there as well. So
I thought you were going to say my favorite thing. It's good to have kids, but it's better when there's someone else.
Also, keep in mind, for those who do have sons instead of daughters, there are other youth groups out there. There are mainly 3 major Masonic youth groups. So there's one for girls, JDI. There's one for boys, that's I think 12 to 21, question mark. They're called Demolay, the Order of Demolay. And that follows the story of Jacques Demolay. And they do pretty cool stuff too. And then there's one more that is also for girls, and it's called Rainbow Girls. I think they're also around the same age. We all do similar things. We all do the same things that a Mason does. We just have a different name and different regalia and different practice. That's it.
So as we mentioned, this is a first. We're in person. We actually have a live studio audience. They've been quiet and sitting just a few feet away from us. But for this moment, if they want to go ahead and give a round of applause. Yeah, you did an awesome job.
She did an awesome job. She did not sound like a teenager for 1 second, and I love it. Thank you, Melody, and thank you, Sam. Hey, if you've enjoyed this episode of the Craftsman Online Podcast, you can help us out by subscribing on Apple Podcasts or following on Spotify. Plus, just let everybody know you can get new episodes every Monday morning. And on Patreon, you can really help us out by subscribing and trying to hit that goal of 20 new members on Patreon. Get started with your free 7-day trial with the link in the notes of this episode. I'm Right Worshipful Brother Michael Arce. I always enjoy our time together and looking forward to next Monday. Until then, let peace and harmony prevail.